Wabash Street Hill made his heart ache at the thought of leaving, but knowing he'd never see Sarah again hurt the most. He'd come home after his internment in Andersonville prison to find his fiancé engaged to Ben Croftner. When things were sorted out and Ben's lies were exposed, Rand had hoped Sarah would go west with him, but she'd put her family above him. He'd taken that hurt and used it to build a wall around his heart. He fingered the love token. What good would it do in his pocket? He'd never give it to anyone else because he'd never feel like this about anyone else. That kind of love was dead for him. He pulled out the token and thrust it into Jacob's hand. "Give this to Sarah, Jake. Tell her I'm sorry it didn't work out, and I hope she has a happy life." Jacob's fingers closed around the token. "You make it sound like there's no hope for the two of you. There isn't. I wish it weren't so, but I doubt I'll see Sarah again." Rand hefted the haversack over his shoulder and picked up the hamper of food, then his satchel. "All aboard?" He was a cavalryman, and this was what he wanted, a life he made for himself, beholden to no one. After one last look at his brothers, he raced toward the plodding train and jumped up the steep steps. He caught one last glimpse of Jacob, standing with one arm upraised, his other arm around their younger brother, Shane. Rand waved until the buckboard with the two figures beside it was no longer in view, then took a deep breath and limped to a vacant seat. His great adventure was about to begin. Sarah Montgomery sat on a rock along the banks of the Wabash River and listened to the train whistle blow as the engine left the station. The sun on this fine September day warmed her face. A robin, its red breast a bright flash of color, fluttered by to land on a nearby gooseberry bush. The bird swooped down to grab a worm. The rhythm of life went on even though her heart felt dead in her chest. She was only 19, but right now she felt like 90. How did she go on after losing Rand and then finding him again only to watch him leave her without a thought? Time stretched in front of her, a lifetime spent without the man she'd loved since she was a girl. A vision of his dark hair and eyes resided in her heart and always would. She picked up the book she'd brought with her, A Christmas Carol. The novel absorbed her until the sun moved lower in the sky. She closed it and glanced around to make sure she had all her belongings before going back to the house to start dinner. Sarah? She looked up to see Jacob, Rand's younger brother, approaching with a tentative smile. "He's gone?" Jacob, dressed in his blue cavalry uniform, took off his wide-brimmed hat and turned it in his hands. "I'm sorry, Sarah. How you doing?" Though her eyes burned, she was past tears. "I'll be fine." She tipped up her chin. "I have Papa and Joel to care for." She studied the compassion in Jacob's brown eyes. "Did he say anything about me?" Jacob nodded and stepped closer. He pulled his hand from his pocket, and something metallic winked in the sunlight. "He asked me to give you this." She rose from her perch on a rock and reached out to take it from him. Her fingers rubbed over the gold medal. "A love token." She choked out the words as she stared at the words engraved in the metal. Rand and Sarah. "He worked on this in prison." Her fingers traced the engraving. "Did he say anything about me joining him?" Jacob's eyes held sympathy as he shook his head. "No, he didn't, Sarah. I'm sorry. He said to tell you he was sorry it didn't work out, and he hoped you'd have a happy life." The pain crushed in on her again. The goodbye was final, just like the one that loomed with her father. Her fingers closed around the coin, and the edges bit into her palm. "Thank you, Jacob."